Ladies and gentlemen, we got a juicy -6 win streak. We have someone claiming to be Eddie in chat right now. Says, I'll just listen to the stream while I work and see if you notice. Eddie. 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 Ladies and gentlemen, you did it. You hit the like streak. Congratulations. Now we're about to double it up. Double the money, double the likes, double the reward. What does that mean? 20 straight days, 1,100 likes, and you get something you've never seen before in Isaac, ever. What we're gonna do, if we get 20 straight days, 1,100 likes, we're gonna do an Isaac cooking video mashup. I know it's bizarre, but it's gonna be good. I think you're gonna like it. It'll be something that's never been done before. It's gonna be gameplay and cooking mixed together. It's hard to comprehend, but we'll see if you wanna see it. 20 straight days, 1,100. I'll see you guys there.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, Eddie, what's going on?
I'm working, or I'm trying to work.
What are you working on? Top secret NDA?
Game called Mugenics.
Oh, how's it going?
Extremely well.
So you're working on Mugenics. You like it? What's good about it?
Could be my best work.
Excuse me, Eddie?
I don't want to. I don't know. So we're about a year into a 3-year dev cycle, so we got 2 more years, and I'm at a point where I can say that I'm as proud of this design as I am Isaac, and I feel like I could go further. But then again,
what?
But then again, like Isaac, the game you're playing now is a 10-year project, so it's hard to stack up content-wise to something that has been updated for 10 years. I mean, it's another one of these type of games where the replayability and the expansion aspect of it feels infinite, but it's a turn-based strategy game that feels like D&D meets Pokemon.
Okay. Well, I was gonna ask you, like, is for you, what makes
it's Final Fantasy Tactics? It's tactics game.
Okay. What makes the gameplay loop fun for you?
Well, so instead of items, in this, you've got classes with like 100+ abilities that are semi-randomly chosen.
Okay.
And you can manipulate odds and stuff like that too. But the crazy part is, so like imagine like with Isaac, you're doing your runs, but there's this hub home where you can breed your Isaacs and then retain abilities through their lifelines, like through their family,
through their one might say Mugenics.
Yes.
Oh, Eddie. So you're in the lab, like you're Eddie in the lab right now.
Yeah. Yes, I am.
I feel like that's the most dangerous, Eddie, because your mind is super creative. So you can breed them, but you don't necessarily. You can't. Is there like odds, like, oh, this one has a chance to have fangs, or is it just you don't know?
Yeah, it's random odds depending on male and female, and whatever else you put into the mix, because there's a lot of weirdness that goes along with it.
So you're actively working on it and you feel great about it. For you said like this is a 3-year dev cycle and you're on year 2, or did I misquote you on that?
End of year 1, I guess. It's start of year 2. We have 2 more years.
For you, how do you project that out? Like, how do you exactly know it's going to be 3 years? And I know you don't.
You don't. I mean, I think we're being pretty realistic. Usually, I'm terrible with that. Sometimes I'm correct, but rarely. But with this one, we got a lot in place already. So the goal for us for the new year is to have a playable run, which is every run goes in 3 chapters, and the chapters branch. So we're gonna have at least 1 full playable run, which means, oh, 1 second, I have to unlock the door for my mom.
Did he say his mom? Like actual mom?
My mom brought me some lemon juice.
Are you for real?
Yeah.
That's very Isaac meta.
Hey, it's Dan. If you're enjoying the video, hit the like button. It helps out a ton. Thank you.
And that's like mom, like mom starring in Isaac, mom.
My mom, my mom's not Mom and Isaac mom, but yeah, that's my mom. My mom lives with me.
What is your mom like? Does she know about mom?
Yo, I'm pretty sure she does. Sometimes she comes in though. So I have a giant Azazel, like a giant Azazel hanging from the ceiling in my house. And we were like talking about it, and then like randomly she goes, "That's from your game?" And I was like, "Yeah." She's like, "I just thought it was a character and something you play." Yeah. So I mean, she knows of the game. She knows what it's about.
Yeah, but does she know that like she's in it, or parts of her are in it, or some?
I mean, yeah. She knows the story. She knows the deal. She knows what's up. My mom's actually not that religious anymore.
But like, was she cool with it, or was she like, Eddie, is this who you think I am? Like in the ending?
I mean, I think she's fine with it. She doesn't talk to me about it for the most part. I mean, I love my mom, you know, and just like you said, like in a lot of ways, writing Repentance was also me trying to make sure in everybody sees until Repentance, a lot of people saw mom as just this horrible evil woman who's doing this horrible
and you're like
stuff.
when you're like, hey, my mom just brought me some lemon juice, I'm like, mom like that same mom.
I'd hate to leave her like that, you know, and having the opportunity with the DLC to be like, okay, now when I write the story, what do I want to do? It's like I want to at least paint the picture of the situation, and you know, there's a story behind everything and every person, and try to help people empathize somewhat with mom, I think was kind of a goal, and maybe not think of his father as such a hero. Just even it out a little bit.
So speaking of Repentance, so there's a big patch that just came out, and things are, you know, definitely very different than last time we talked. You know, the game's been uncovered a lot, et cetera. But this patch, like a lot of people are talking about it, and what has gone into this patch? Like what has been your role in it, and how long has this been in the works?
It's been in the works since the last patch. I know, you know, Vin is the type of guy who wants to do it himself. And I worked with people that are like that, and those people are usually really good, but they tend to be a little slow because they try to do everything themselves. And I've been guilty of that in the past, where I've been really like controlling about every aspect of the game except for the programming. And I'll do it all, even though it'll take extra time or be way too much of a workload for me. And he's that personality type, so I completely understand it. And I didn't want to push especially after like the years of development that he put into it. So it's been in development since then, and I don't know. I mean, we were gonna release it as smaller patches just to get bug fixes out and stuff like that, but then there was like localization stuff that came up that we needed to add, and then the console release. There's a bunch of stuff that just kind of like lagged it down, and then Vin got overloaded and needed to take a little break. But for the most part, yeah, this has been in development since then, and my input was the change, most of the changes to the tainted characters, which it's hard to say if that's my input as much as it's like, okay, it's pretty obvious. Like these are the things that people are struggling with, and these characters are a little boring when it comes to their designs, and how can we make them more like what we had envisioned when kind of going in. Because there were a few characters, especially Tainted Lazarus, that were kind of unfinished, and then we got to a point where it's like, well, it's functional, and it is kind of like how we wrote it, and let's just see if people like it, and we can fix it afterwards if not. And it just took a little while to fix it afterwards.
So when you say like you made some tainted characters more fun, like we just got done playing Tainted Azazel, which I'm like, wow, this is really fun to play. Like
that's all Vin. Vin totally did that. Like he was like, I think I have some tweaks that I can do to make him feel more intuitive, the controls and stuff like that. And I'm like, go for it. And he did, and it was really good. So
for you, like when you decide, hey, this character is or is not fun to play, how do you begin to like quantify that, or how do you say, hey, this really isn't fun? Like how do you get that feedback?
Well, I'll move to the not so obvious and more controversial one, which would be Tainted Cain. So the idea for Tainted Cain was a back and forth between me and Vin. So originally Tainted Cain the design that I had on paper was Tainted Cain had a bag, and he could catch bullets in the bag, and then turn the bullets into pickups. That was the original design.
Okay.
And it just didn't. It felt too cumbersome. You know, the idea of like right now, like going and trying to catch all these things just to make pickups, and it felt like it's too easy to exploit. So like, okay, that's not going to work. So how can we rework that and make it work with the bag theme? And all I cared about was it was a bag, and that Cain is a resource management character. Like he's all about resources and abundance and stealing and that sort of stuff too. So he should be doing something with items. And Ben said that he thinks that he had come up with a way to like make it so every item in the game had a code, and the code was based off of a bunch of items that you pick up, and we could generate items with this code, which was encoded with pickups. And I thought, that's insane. How could you do that? And he's like, no problem, I can. And he did. And I thought that was the coolest ever. And then we talked about it being extra cool. Like, it'll be really cool when people finally make like a Wikipedia and that has all the items and everything else. And then that happened within like days. It happened within days. And then it became this like the most boring in the world.
Yeah.
Like every single person would play this 5-hour game of Isaac, which was essentially cheating. Essentially, it was just like the wiki open, all the formulas there, and they're just really slowly cheating. Really, like, why not just open debug? Like, why not debug and give you the item that you want? Why do you have to do it this way? So it became this kind of like, this is so not fun and not at all how we envisioned it. Let's just refocus it. So he refocused it back on like what he had originally discussed, which was he wanted to make it almost full random, but make the items that appear move into different pools depending on the more rare items that you have. So like if you had an Eternal Heart in your bag, then it raises the chances of it being an Angel Room item or whatever.
Okay.
And that's the change now. I think he exaggerated. I don't know how much he exaggerated it, but he said he exaggerated it enough for it to be noticeable. So, you know, you always want to have something rare in there, some dime. You know, you will have somewhat more control over what you get, and you won't just get like lunch all the time. I think that was or breakfast. That was like a bug that was tied to items that were still locked, I think. With Jacob and Esau, with Dark Jacob and Esau, it was a pretty easy fix. Because the whole intent was to make sure that you have him to fight with, because he's extremely strong if you use him right. And people kept accidentally getting him killed later, and then it would defeat the purpose, and it would just be really hard. So we just refocused that to make sure that he stuck around, so you could keep using him as a weapon, because he is quite good. A Tainted Lazarus was just an easy one that we'd already discussed, I think, on release, which was the ability to have a flip side to items.
Got
and
it.
Let him flip the item and pick the other item up.
So you kind of knew, like, so with Tainted Laz, you're like, okay, it's not exactly what we want right now, but it's playable. So you kind of knew, like, hey, that was kind of the plan for Laz, or was it after people started playing it, you're like, eh?
It was mostly like, I think this might be problematic. We'll see if it actually is. And then it, you know, kind of was. The first and most glaring thing with anything is this boring? Like, you know, does this bring nothing to the table? Like, does it feel like a new mechanic? Because the Tainted characters, they really started as kind of really basic versions of the characters with an item, like a new item essentially attached to each character. And once I think it was Tainted Cain. Once Tainted Cain was being designed, we were like, we gotta like raise the bar here because he's so cool. What's your opinion? I would love to hear you and anybody else who plays the game a lot. I'd like to know what you think the 10 worst items are in the game currently.
All right, I'll just give you my answer. I think Sci-Fly is completely overrated. I know you nerfed it, which was, I think, good because everyone loves it. So I'm not a big Sci-Fly or Brimstone fan. I think Brimstone's only good 9% of the time, but realistically, like I don't.
Well, I'm talking about the items that you think are worthless. An item that you see and you're like, that's not going to do anything for me.
Yeah, Brimstone and Sci-Fly. No, I'm kind of serious because it's like when you see that, for me, I mean, I know it's not what you're looking for, but for me, it's like, okay, you just won the run, you know? And it's just, I always look at it from like an entertainment standpoint. Like, is this fun to watch? Totally. But yeah, I don't know. Like, I don't know the trash tier items. Like I was talking to Northern Line earlier. It's like, yeah, some of these items are not minutia. What did he say? Detritus. And I don't look at it like that way. Cause I look at like you like designing all this stuff. I'm like, Eddie never intended for items to be trash. But I mean, when you design what, hundreds of thousands of items, some of them are going to be trash.
Yeah. I mean, there's stuff too. Like I think a good example is Breath of Life. So when I designed that, I thought to myself, this is going to be an item people use to exploit things.
Mm-hmm.
And then it wasn't. And it is considered a worthless item by many. And I've been trying to figure out ways to like make it better. And I think it actually got updated and it's still considered a terrible item. So there's some remnants of the past, which simply aren't up to snuff. And a lot of them we did update, and we made them a lot better. Some people still don't even know, like Game Breaking Bug and Holy Water are very good now. And they used to be
look. Holy Water, I say, is one of the top 5 best angel items. And people are like, you can't be serious. I'm dead serious.
Well, because people don't know yet. Like people don't know that it changed. Like a lot of items changed. A lot of really tier items changed. And people just didn't get the memo. But yeah, I'd like to know. I'd like to know for future reference what like the low items are. And I'm not talking about, I appreciate your thoughts, because I purposefully put in items like Cursive Tower and Bob's Brain and items that like are funny.
Yeah.
But also strong, especially now. And I don't know if people know that like all bombs got buffed like a lot. Like bombs deal more than twice as much damage as they used to. They're really strong. So like Curse of the Tower will destroy bosses. So it's like take half a heart and just kill a boss.
Well, let me ask this. What else do you think is, you said it, I didn't. What else do you think is trash tier in the game right now?
Well, I'm mostly going off of what I think as well as what people have been telling me.
Yeah.
And the number one appears to be Data Miner.
Okay.
Which is admittedly does nothing.
What was your initial intent for that?
I think it was kind of re-rolling things and jumbling them up and then maybe getting like, I don't know. I honestly don't remember. I don't even remember making.
Did you just put it into like as like a middle finger to the people that data mine the game?
Okay, this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna look it up. Distort all sprites, rotate everything 90 degrees. Oh, it randomly increases or decreases one of your stats by a small amount and gives you the fruitcake effect for the room when used. So it's fruitcake, but everything gets f***ed up. So that's the positive. Fruitcake's great.
That was your shot at the Isaac community that you didn't like. That's okay. I think I think it's cool that's in there. Eddie, I got some random questions for you.
Yeah.
The planetarium rooms, were they inspired, designed by Fruit by the Fruity Stripe Gum, the floors of them?
I didn't design those.
You didn't design?
No, I did not. That was from Antbirth. That was from their mod.
Okay.
It was already there, but it was a cool design, so I went with it.
Okay.
And I didn't change it at all. So I don't think so though, because the guys are pretty young. I don't think they know what Fruit by the Foot is.
What are your thoughts on like the modding community? Like when do you check out mods? Do you just like you look? I
feel bad because I don't.
Ever.
Sometimes I used to check them,
mm-hmm.
and around when we were doing the booster packs and stuff like that,
mm-hmm.
and then this weird. I should have had enough foresight to know this was going to happen. This weird happened where whenever we would add something, someone would say they stole my idea, and it was like, no, because some of the ideas were so like, it's kind of like Taco Bell, right? Where you've got the whole cheese, meat, beans, tortilla. Right?
Yeah.
And if it's like, hey, I had this idea to put the beans on the outside of the burrito and you know, and now it's this new burrito. And it's like, wait, no, like that you're just doing the same thing that they do. You're just reusing and repurposing these things. It's only logical that would exist in this world because we have the foundation already laid. Like the pieces are there. But they don't see that. And they think they've come up with like this incredibly unique idea. You know, the only mods that I've seen are the mods that were on your your playthrough. Or when I go over to hang out with my nephew and he's playing and he's like obsessed with mods and he's got the wackiest mods everywhere with weird sound effects constantly playing.
What are your thoughts on people playing with mods? Do you be like, well, that's not how I intended it, or do you care, or it doesn't matter?
No, because I did intend the whole thing back when we did mods was I thought there was going to never be any more Isaac, so I wanted to make sure people could freely expand the game forever and make it their own.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's whatever people want to do. I think it's almost become a meme in itself whenever we update something and change gameplay that somebody adds a mod that reverts it. Just the one thing. It's like I know I think within 12 hours somebody made a mod that made donation machines revert back to what they were before.
That was my question. So like I was playing Hollow Knight last night, and then it was just once the patch came out, it was just a wave of people saying, you're not gonna believe what they did to the donation machine.
That's so stupid.
Was that
I don't know if people realize how many extra coins come out when you do it though. Like you shouldn't need more than that. If you've maxed out the donation machine and you're not okay with the amount of coins that come out by using one bomb, it's just like this, it's very easy 1-to-1 ratio of like, okay, one bomb equals like 7 to 10 coins. That could be way higher than that because they could be nickels and dimes, or lucky pennies or whatever else. If you can't swing that and you've obviously maxed it out, then something's wrong. Like you're leaning a little too hard into the donation machine in order to get a win.
I feel personally attacked here with that statement, but but did that come from you, or did that come from Vin? The donation fix?
I think it actually came from the community.
Okay.
It came from discussions within on Discord, discussing what kind of exploits and balances, like what the meta is, and what people are doing that seems like maybe they shouldn't be doing and seems kind of dumb or boring or unfun or too much use.
Hey, we got a couple repentance questions leaking through, Eddie. Someone says, when will you get repentance on Switch in the EU? Is that just all legal stuff?
So the last thing that I heard, and I don't want to like announce this publicly, but I've alluded to it, is within 1 or 2 weeks it should be up. It was all approved, everything's been approved. It's just waiting to queue up. And we were kind of in a situation where we had to push a bunch of stuff out at one time, and we got approval from everybody except for EU, who were actually on vacation, I think, when we had submitted it. And when they got back, they were still trying to figure out what they have to like set a date, and it can't like align. You know, they've got deals and stuff like that. They you know.
So for you, your final button up bow tying ribbon on Isaac is like maybe like just this patch, and then get the patch to consoles, and then is it officially stamped, like done?
Yeah, I would say, for the most part, once the PC patch gets to consoles and the consoles are updated and patched, and I would say it's pretty done.
Like, and that are you good with that? Like you're done.
Yeah, I'm pretty good with that. I mean, I wouldn't be against like doing some sort of anniversary thing every year where it's like throw a few items out there and tweak and tune some things or whatever else. But as far as DLCs go, I'm done. And as far as sequels go, I'm done for quite a while.
What can you define quite a while? Decade?
At least 5 or 6 years, ideally 10. Yeah.
So I don't want to tap your frontal cortex too much, but you got Mugenics. Do you have other sauce in there that you're like, all right, after Mugenics, this would be a cool concept for a game?
After Mugenics, what I'm going to do is I'm going to roll it back to old school Edmund McMillan, and I'm going to make My goal is to make well, it's not even I'm not even going to define it as a video game. I'm going to have one project every 3 months for 2 years. Small projects that are just fun for me. And maybe they make profit, maybe they don't make profit, you know, maybe, I don't know. Who knows what they'll be. I'm not going to think about them now because I really want to kind of go in with fresh new eyes and just let it happen with whoever I'm working with. Because that's what's really fun. And I want to get back to that because I've gone through 5+ years of kind of biting off more than I could chew. And then, and then like just stuff piling up. And now I'm finally like relaxing with one project, which is very nice. And I once that's done, I think the biggest reward for me would be to be completely free of long-winded sequelitis type expansions or games. I want to do small projects that people will say, why did you make that? Why don't you make another Isaac? I want to do a lot of that because that's what's fun for me. And it's just so people understand, the more little stupid projects that I do, like Fingered, the more little crap like that I do, the better of an artist and designer I become, and the better the potential sequel of Isaac in the future becomes, because I become a better designer. And I have not been able to really stretch and grow as a designer until recently, until Mugenics. And I would like to do more of that. And the only way you do that is kind of rapid fire design, like small projects where you learn from your mistakes, you learn what works, what doesn't, and you kind of move along. Like I'd like to do some really weird that I wouldn't normally do because there's no money in it, you know? And how can I come up with another project like as weird as Isaac or whatever, unless I relax to the point of being open to doing things that have no financial gain tied to them.
And so for you, so it's like you're trying to make sure people understand to make, and you're not saying this is going to happen, but to make the next best Isaac, you can't be trapped in the Isaac mines working on Isaac DLC because it's just going to be more of the same Isaac. The next, if there is ever another Isaac, it's going to be completely different because you're doing it so many different things.
For sure. I mean, because people will ask like, what are your, yes, I actually have a design document for Isaac 2, but I don't know if it's a good idea because it kind of feels like I'm playing it safe. And maybe I do want to play it safe. Maybe I want to do a Spelunky 2 type, you know, sequel.
Yeah.
Where I don't need to reinvent the wheel. Maybe that's what's most appropriate. Maybe I want to reinvent the wheel. Maybe I want to do something akin to, you know, the second Zelda, which I do not like. But
What?
I do not like the second Zelda.
Why not? Well, you like it enough to put the guy in the I am error room, so you must.
Well, that's funny. I don't like it. I don't think I ever got it. I used to rent it all the time as a kid and never get further than like after the first dungeon, and I can no clue where to go and what to do, and I tried so hard and I can never figure it out.
But when you say that's the fault of the player, not the designer. I'm just saying because Zelda 2 is my favorite Zelda. So that's cool, man. So you sound like you're in a good place. But the thing is too, you do so much, you know, board games, the game development, husband, dad. It's like at some point you got to have some Eddie time, right? Like, is there something you wish?
Well, but that is Eddie time. Like, I'm not lying. Like, it's not work for me. It doesn't feel like work. It doesn't feel like work at all. Oh, 1 sec.
Yeah.
All right, I gotta go.
Yeah.
The baby's awake. I need to get her.
Eddie, thanks for coming on, man. It was a surprise, but glad everything's well. Congrats on the patch, and excited to hear about everything going on. But more importantly, it sounds like you're doing well and happy, which is amazing.
Well, thank you. I saw you streaming, so I thought I'll spam the chat, and no one noticed me for like 20 minutes.
Your name is Edmund Mogg or something.
Edmund MOG.
Oh, yeah, like the OG Edmund.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, thanks, Eddie. Yo, chat, can we give Eddie some high fives? I appreciate you coming on, man. Glad all is well.
No problem. Take it easy.
All right, I'll see you.
See ya.
That was not planned. Not planned any percentage. That was cool. Sometimes the best things aren't planned. No, it was cool. Hope you guys enjoyed it for sure. Need to play Zelda 2 with him though. What's our losing streak at? Look. We're not gonna take look. At -13, look, it's not, the blood's not on our hands. I'm not gonna point any fingers. Eddie, I'm not pointing any fingers. But no, that was fun. I would sacrifice pace to chat with Eddie. No, it was good. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're here for the random Eddie pop-in, I was here.
Want to catch up on the Dan Gheesling Show because you can't catch it live on Twitch? Then go to youtube.com/Dan Gheesling Plays. There you'll find every single one of our live shows cut up in an easily digestible episode for your viewing pleasure. Episodes are up within a couple days of the show, so you're never too far behind if you want to catch up and watch live. That's youtube.com/Dan Gheesling Plays to watch anything you might have missed on Twitch.